Yo, what's up, everybody? I've got Riley Hulbert in the house. How you doing, Riley?
I'm doing so well, Andrew. I'm so excited to play some new Pokemon cards. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I've got a new deck from our upcoming set, Lost Origin, featuring Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR, that I'm stoked to show off in today's gameplay. I think you've got some new cards as well, relatively new.
Yeah, rocking some new Pokemon Go cards in a familiar Arceus Inteleon deck, and we're going to see who can square up, an old favorite or a new rising star.
On my side of the board, I'm going to be playing Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR. Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR has 270 hit points, a powerful attack, and an awesome V-Star ability. Its attack, Baleful Curse, for 2 colorless energy, does 50 damage times the amount of your Pokemon in play that have damage counters on them. So the idea of this deck is to get a bunch of damage counters on your Pokemon and then swing for massive one-hit knockouts with Baleful Curse. Zoroark V-Star's V-Star ability is Phantom Star, which allows you to discard your hand and draw 7 cards. This pairs perfectly with Gengar, who has the Creeping Back ability. Creeping Back allows you to place Gengar from your discard pile onto your bench, and when you do it, you place 3 damage counters onto Gengar. So Gengar helps you to power up Zoroark V-Star's Baleful Curse attack. And since Baleful Curse only costs 2 colorless energy, you can use it for just 1 energy attachment thanks to double turbo energy. I'm really stoked to see how this Hisuian Zoroark V-Star deck works.
And on my side of the table, I'll be rocking the Arceus V-Star Inteleon deck. Arceus V-Star comboed with Inteleon is something that we're all already familiar with. We know it, we love it, we hate it. It's something we've seen around. But the main differentiator from the standard Arceus Inteleon build is going to be this Radiant Charizard. And Radiant Charizard from the Pokemon Go expansion has the Excited Heart ability, which will reduce the cost of Combustion Blast for each prize card that your opponent has taken. So if they've taken 4 prize cards, this attack is for 1 single fire energy. And you can reach up to 250 damage, 280 with a Choice Belt, which is numbers that Arceus has really struggled to hit in the past. Using the combination of Inteleon's Shady Dealings and Charizard's Combustion Blast, I'm hoping to take big one-shots over the course of the game and punish my opponent for knocking out my Arceus.
Riley, would you like heads or tails?
Heads, please.
It is a tails, so I will go first. All right, good luck.
To you as well.
I'll draw for turn. We'll kick things off with Trekking Shoes. Look at the top card of the deck. I'll just put it into the discard pile and see the next card, which is a double turbo energy. So we'll place that straight onto my Hisuian Zoroark V. I'll pass it to you, Riley.
All right. With that, I'll draw for turn. I'm a little scared that my Arceus will not be long for this world, and I do not have a backup. I will use the level ball, and with that, I will search my deck for a Sobble. Looking pretty nice. And just to make Andrew's life a little bit harder, I will attach a Big Charm to my Arceus V, so that way it'll have a little more hit points in the event of the Baleful Curse attack coming forth. Andrew, it's your turn.
I will draw. I'll play Evolution Incense. I'll search out Gengar and put it into my hand. I will then play Quick Ball, and I'm going to discard one of these Gengar from my hands, and I'll search out a second Hisuian Zoroark V.
Seems reasonable.
I'll bench the Hisuian Zoroark V. I will use Gengar's Creeping Back ability to bring it from the discard pile to the bench and place 3 damage counters on it. I'll attach an air balloon to my Gengar V, giving it free retreats. I'm going to evolve into Hisuian Zoroark V-Star and play Professor's Research to discard my hand and draw 7 cards. I was able to find Gapejaw Bog, which is going to help me to put more damage counters on my board. I'll use Gengar's Creeping Back ability to bring Gengar from the discard pile to my bench with 3 damage counters on it. Then I will Ultra Ball away Hisuian Zoroark V-Star and a Manaphy, and I will get a Rangaroo. I will Quick Ball away Professor's Research and get Crobat V. I'll bench my Rangaroo And because of the Gapejaw Bog, I'll place 2 damage counters on it. And then I will use Crobat V's Dark Asset ability to draw 5 cards. And yes, it gets 2 damage counters from the Gapejaw. So I can use Damage Pump to move 2 damage counters from my Gengar and place 1 onto each of my Zoroark. And I didn't even need to use my V-Star power. I could have seen 7 more cards if I wanted to. This is a turn 2, 280 damage. And with that, your Arceus is gone.
Yeah, I think so. So I will promote my Sobble, and I am in an unfortunate position at this point. I'll draw for turn. Let's go ahead and level ball to start. Search my deck and see if I can claw together a route here off this level ball. Certainly going to be getting a Drizzile out of my deck. I think from this position, I just use that Shady Dealings ability and will probably be simply grabbing a Research to try and get a little bit more developed of a board position, draw as much as possible, and hopefully be able to come back with chained Charizards over the next few turns instead. Bench is Sobble, and Gapejaw Bog will place those 2 damage counters, and then I'll play a Professor's Research, discarding my hand and drawing 7 additional cards. I do find a Sobble, and then I will use a Quick Ball to discard a Quick Shooting Inteleon and get one last Sobble into play. Gapejaw Bog really putting a number on my Sobbles.
Just think like, dang, if I had Radiant Blastoise right now.
You'd be cooking for sure.
Yeah.
You would unfortunately have a Radiant Blastoise in your Zoroark deck at that point, but it would feel really cool.
It would.
That's about as much as I can do this turn, unfortunately, so I'm going to pass over to Andrew, not trying to put any more Arceus into play from this point.
I will draw. I will attach a double turbo energy to my benched Hisuian Zoroark. I'm going to Ultra Ball, discarding Energy Loto and Gapejaw Bog. I will search out a Hisuian Zoroark V-Star and evolve my Hisuian Zoroark V. I will use Orangaru's Primate Wisdom to stack a Marnie on top of my deck, and then I will use Marnie, and I can guarantee that I will draw back into that Marnie. With that, there's not too much else that I need to do, so I will simply use Baleful Curse for the knockouts, 280 damage.
I'll promote my Sobble and then draw for turn. I do find my Radiant Charizard at long last, so I will throw him onto the bench and take those damage counters from the Gapejaw Bog. And now I got to figure out how to piece together the rest of this game. I will more than likely need to Raihan and attack with this Charizard this turn. My hand is really not super conducive to doing that effectively, but we'll sure try. So I'm going to level ball, going through my deck here. With that, I will evolve up a Drizzile and use the Shady Dealings ability. And with that, I will grab a handy dandy Ultra Ball. First things first, I'll play an Energy Search, search my deck for a basic energy and put it into my hand. I'll grab a Water Energy, and then I will immediately go back in by using an Ultra Ball to discard both the Water and the Fire Energy in my hand and search my deck for another Drizzile. I'll use Drizzile's Shady Dealings ability to put the Raihan in my hand, and now things start to get moving and grooving. With the Raihan, I will attach an energy to my Radiant Charizard and then search my deck for any one card. That one card in this instance is going to be a Scoop Up Net, so I can keep things moving.
Radiant Charizard is such a powerful card, being able to take this knockout from basically no board position to 260 damage. Really impressive.
Absolutely. So I will Scoop Up Net the active Drizzile, turning those to my hand and moving my Radiant Charizard into the active position. I'll use one more Shady Dealings. I will not grab a choice spells because they are prized. Huh, that is unfortunate. So I will simply grab a Boss's Orders and put it into my hand. And then for my final trick, I will use a Training Court, put the Water Energy into my hand, attach for turn to my Charizard, and then bench my Sobble without having to worry about the Gapejaw Bog any longer. And that'll have to be it. I will Combustion Blast for 250.
250, just a little bit short of the knockout. Draw for turn. I will Ultra Ball away Gengar and Ultra Ball. So I'm going to grab a Hisuian Zoroark V, just so that I can Marnie it to the bottom of my deck. But before I do that, I'll Trekking Shoes. I do not want that card. I'll Trekking Shoes, and I will choose to discard that card.
Got plenty left.
I will use Marnie.
All
We're
right.
both going to shuffle our hands, put them on the bottom of our deck. I will see 5, and you see 4 cards. Oh, where are my damage pumps? I will use Oranguroo's Primate Wisdom ability to place a double turbo on top of my deck and find a Trekking Shoes, which is interesting. I will use Trekking Shoes, discard the double turbo energy, and find Damage Pump, which I will use to move 2 damage counters off of my active over here to my Gengar. And thankfully, we were able to put that Zoroark out of immediate quick shooting range, and I will use Baleful Curse for 280 damage and take the knockouts.
I'll draw for turn. That card will not help me, but I do have an Evolution Incense in my hand, which I will go ahead and play to search my deck for an Evolution Pokemon. But with a couple of Shady Dealings, hey, lots of things can happen. So I will start by using a Shady Dealings, going into my deck here, and I am unfortunately lacking the Pal Pad, which would let me, potentially Raihan again this turn. I think what I'll have to do is make a multi-turn maneuver here.
Multi-turn. I like the sound of that. What do we got cooking, Riley?
So I'll probably have to grab the Ordinary Rod. I certainly need my Charizard back in the deck, and I would really appreciate that Quick Shooting Inteleon to also be back into the deck. And I think I'm going to have to just Roxanne and hope you have a little bit of a whiff here over the next turn. So those will both go to my hand, and I'll play the Ordinary Rod to grab the Radiant Charizard, 1 energy card, and the Quick Shooting Inteleon out of my discard. In this situation, I would rather keep the Fire Energy in my discard because I have access to the Training Court, which could find it on the other end of this Roxanne. And at this point, I think I've done all I can do, so I will use that Roxanne, shuffling both Andrew and I's hands into the deck. I'll draw 6, but Andrew will draw a mere 2 cards. We'll bench the Charizard and attach a Fire Energy to it. And unfortunately, that's about all I can do in this situation. I'll use Training Court to put a Fire Energy in my hand, and I'll have to pass over to Andrew.
I will draw Boss's Orders, which I'll use to bring up the Radiant Charizard, and I will use Primate Wisdom to stack that card on top of my deck and draw the next. I will use Baleful Curse for the knockout.
And I think that will seal the deal here. I'll draw for turn, and that's not going to be a card that'll ultimately get me there. Evolution Incense can find me the Quick Shooting Inteleon, but it's too little, too late at this point. Would have really loved to see that last turn.
Yeah.
Can Quick Shoot in the active, and then I'm forced just to attach for turn and pass it over to Andrew, who can immediately knock me out for game.
Yeah, I've got Baleful Curse for game. Good game there, Riley. I think that in this particular game, this deck did everything it wanted to do.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming that you will choose to go first.
I think so. Yeah, going first is good.
Seems good. Yeah. And you're going to want to turn 1 energy drop.
I think so.
Yes. You've been missing those. All right, good luck.
And to you as well. I'll start off by drawing for turn. I'll use my Quick Ball to discard a Fire Energy from my hand. And unlike the previous game, I'm not worried about having 2 Arceus in play necessarily on the first turn of the game. So I can instead search for a Sobble. In terms of my setup, I have an Energy Attachment from hand. I have some follow-up for the following turn. Don't have much else I can do this turn, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'll pass it over to you.
I will draw. I've got a cool opening because I have Diancie in the active with its Princess's Curtain ability, which is going to make it so that Riley cannot gust one of my Hisuian Zoroark V to knock it out, which is very good for me. I'm going to Ultra Ball away Gengar and Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR. All right, with the Ultra Ball, I'm going to grab Primate Wisdom Oranguru. So I'll use Primate Wisdom to put a Research on top of my deck and draw the next card, and that is exactly what you want to see because it's a Gengar. So I can just use Professor's Research to discard that Gengar and see 7 new cards. I do find Hisuian Zoroark V, so I will bench that. I will use Gengar's Creeping Back ability to place it from the discard pile onto my bench and place 3 damage counters on it. Then I will also use my second Gengar's Creeping Back ability to put it onto my bench and put 3 damage counters on it. I will bench one more Hisuian Zoroark V, and I will use Damage Pump to move 2 damage counters off of one of my Gengar to put a damage counter on Hisuian Zoroark V and my Oranguru. And with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Not much else you can ask for after your first turn. I'll draw for turn, and we'll kick things off by just evolving my Arceus V and evolving my Shady Dealings Drizzile to search my deck for a trainer card. So in this situation, my goal is, seeing that Andrew has burned some of his professor's researches, I want to hopefully stick him with a Marnie and a Path to the Peak. This feels like the most powerful play I can make, given that I cannot gust this turn. I'll play a Marnie for turn. So Andrew and I will both shuffle our hands and put them onto the bottom of our deck. I will draw 5 more cards, and Andrew will draw 4. I'll go ahead and attach a double turbo energy. I will use my V-Star power. So first things first, I would love to get a Path to the Peak in play to disrupt Andrew's board state. I think we'll just stick with Old Reliable in a Sobble. Bench that Sobble. Use a Quick Ball. Discarding a Quick Ball and adding that Arceus V into my hand, with which I will immediately bench it.
The Marnie Path, really brutal. Wasn't able to stack a research because I was trying to save one in my deck with the opening of 3 research, so...
And with that, I'll use the Trinity Nova attack to accelerate 3 energy onto my Arceus V on the bench, as well as knock out your Diancie in the active position.
I will promote Hisuian Zoroark V and draw for turn. I'm going to Ultra Ball away 2 Gengar, which is nice. And this is where I would be off to the races if I had my abilities. But that Path to the Peak is really disrupting my board right now, because it's making it so that I can't use Hisuian Zoroark's Phantom Star V-Star power. I can't use Crobat V's Dark Asset ability. I will grab Hisuian Zoroark V-Star off of my Ultra Ball. I will use Primate Wisdom, stack a card on top of my deck, and that card's not bad. Okay. I will use the Gengar's Creeping Back to place it onto the bench. We're just going to evolve here, and I will use Hollow Swap to do 30 damage and switch into Gengar.
With that, I'll draw for turn, and I don't hate this situation for me still. Start things off, what better way than by using a Shady Dealings Inteleon to search for 2 cards to put into my hand. And off the Shady Dealings, I'll grab a Scoop Up Net so I can guarantee to have an Inteleon for next turn. Let's grab that boss. I'll Scoop Up Net the Inteleon, put that into my hand, rebench the Sobble, then use the Shady Dealings on the Drizzile to now prep my hand for next turn. Oh, to level ball to my hand.
Sure.
And then I will bench that Sobble, use a boss's orders on your Hisuian Zoroark V-Star.
Okay.
And Trinity Nova for 180 damage.
Okay. Now I do know what my top deck is, because I put it there. And had I not put it there and instead put the switch on top last turn, we would have been taking this knockout last turn. But you know what? It's fine. I'll use Primate Wisdom to now put the switch on top of my deck and get a pretty good card. Evolution Incense, which can go get a Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, and I will evolve it into play. I will use Damage Pump to take 2 damage counters off of my active and move them. Move 1 to my Zoroark and 1 to my Gengar. And then I will play the last card in my hand, which is a double turbo energy, and I will use Baleful Curse for the knockouts and 2 prizes.
So that was my goal by swinging into Andrew last turn, is that it would hopefully set myself up for a situation where maybe he can't continue to respond. Draw for turn. That's an excellent top deck in that Arceus V-Star. Honestly, I think keeping things relatively simple is the way to go. I'll use a Drizzile and Shady Dealings to grab a Big Charm. Just want to make Andrew work as hard as possible, keep him honest on getting this knockout here. So I will use Trinity Nova to take the knockout.
Zoroark hits the bin. I will promote my fresh Hisuian Zoroark V-Star and draw for turn. Use Primate Wisdom to stack that card on top of my deck and see the next card. Yes, it is looking like you have got me stuck, Riley. Unfortunately, that path to the peak is really slowing me down. I just have to pass.
I'm feeling pretty good from here. I'll draw for turn. I'll start things off by using a Shady Dealings Inteleon, and now I'm looking to target down Andrew's Zoroarks. So with that, I will search my deck, grab the second boss's orders out of there, and for my second trick, I'll go ahead and grab another Scoop Up Net. I'll use Scoop Up Net to return this Inteleon to my hand, use an Evolution Incense to now grab my Quick Shooting Inteleon, which will make this boss play really easy for me. With that, I will Boss's Orders and use my Quick Shooting ability to put 2 damage counters on the active Hisuian Zoroark. We'll end up opting to use my Shady Dealings Drizzile, search my deck. We'll keep it simple and put a Quick Ball into my hand so I can grab that Charizard if I so need it. And then we'll use Trinity Nova for 200 damage, taking the knockout.
Yeah, not doing great. Riley going down to just 1 prize remaining. I will draw for turn. I will use Evolution Incense. I will grab Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. Then I will Quick Ball away Switch and go get myself a Zoroark. And I will Primate Wisdom to put that on top of my deck. And I can swing for, 230 damage, but I think that the writing is on the wall here, and I am just going to scoop up my cards. Because I trust that you could find a way to Boss's Orders.
Yeah, I got the Pal Pad in hand off the prizes. So.
Yeah, that was a mean Marnie path. Tell you what, yeah, that was really tough. All right, game 3. Do you have a basic?
I sure do.
I do not. So that is going to be a mulligan for you. All right, good luck.
To you as well.
I will draw for turn. I will attach a Choice Belt to my active Zoroark, and I will pass to you.
Interesting. Now, as we've seen, that this does not mean that the Zoroark deck does not have a powerful turn ahead of it. So I have plenty of reason to still be afraid. I will start my turn off with a Quick Ball. I think I'll start by discarding the Evolution Incense. And first things first, let's get another Arceus into play.
I think so, because it's definitely possible for this one to go down.
And as the second order of business here, why don't we use another Quick Ball? Let's discard a Drizzile in this situation. So definitely grabbing a Sobble here off this Quick Ball, but trying to understand what the rest of my game will look like. We'll bench that Sobble off the Quick Ball. So we'll attach that energy from hand, and then we'll play a Marnie. Andrew and I shuffling our hands and putting it onto the bottom of the deck. I'll draw 5 cards, and Andrew will draw 4. I'll bench another Sobble, and we'll pass over to you.
All right. Thankfully, you didn't slam that path down, because I've got things to do. I will draw for turn. And I'm going to kick things off with a Trekking Shoes. Do I want Marnie? Or do I yearn for more? And I think the answer is I'll take the Marnie. Ultra Ball away, Manaphy, and Damage Pump to go get Gengar. And then I will Quick Ball away Gengar to go get Crobat. I'll Dark Asset to draw 5. I will play down Gapejaw Bog. I'll use Energy Loto to look at the top 7 cards of my deck and see if I find any energy there. There it is. And attach it to my active Ultra Ball away, the Choice Belt, and my other Gapejaw Bog to go find Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. And then I will play Marnie. So I will get 5. I find some pretty good cards to work with. We're definitely going to use Evolution Incense to go get another Gengar out of my deck. I'll grab Gengar and put it into my hand. Then I will bench Diancie and place 2 damage counters on it because of the Gapejaw Bog. I will place Air Balloon onto my Diancie. I will use my V-Star power Phantom Star to discard my hand and draw 7 more cards. And those were some really good cards off of that Phantom Star. I will Quick Ball away Gengar. I will grab another Hisuian Zoroark V, bench Hisuian Zoroark V, and place 2 damage counters on it with the Gapejaw Bog. I will bench another Hisuian Zoroark V, place 2 damage counters on it with the Gapejaw Bog. Bench Oranguru, and put 2 damage counters on it with the Gapejaw Bog. I will use Primate Wisdom to put Research on top of my deck, and unfortunately I do not find the damage pump that I need to take the knockout, but I am doing 210 damage, which is still not bad.
I would say so. For your second turn, starting from a Zoroark pass, hitting over 200 damage yet again is very impressive. I will start by drawing for turn. Really, the only play I have is to play a level ball and search my deck for a new Pokemon. That Pokemon, of course, being the Shady Dealings Drizzile. And from here, it's just a matter of what do I want to do. I could grab an Evolution Incense, which I think I'll do, to quickly get an Arceus into play. And with that Arceus V-Star into play, it's time to Starbirth. So let's go ahead and flip that V-Star marker. Use the Starbirth ability, search my deck for any 2 cards. First order of business is going to be, of course, the double Turbo Energy. What is that second card? Probably want to continue drawing this turn, so I'll take that double Turbo and the Professor's Research and add them to my hand. So I'll attach a double Turbo as my attachment for turn onto the Arceus V-Star and play that Professor's Research, discarding my hand and drawing 7 additional cards. I'll evolve my benched Arceus V into a V-Star, bench a Sobble, and take that 20 damage from the Gapejaw Bog. And that's about all I can do here, so I will use the Trinity Nova attack for 180 damage and accelerate onto my next Arceus.
I will draw for turn, and I will use Evolution Incense, allowing me to search my deck, and I want to go get another Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. Something that I always find really interesting about this format is that there's absolutely no downside to evolving into a V-Star. It's like you don't even have
it's strictly
to
better.
Just turn your brain off, just do it, you know? You just evolve. There's no like, oh, well, it gives up an extra prize. No, it doesn't. Just gets more hit points, gets like way better in almost every way. So you just evolve those suckers every time you find them. Use Primate Wisdom to stack a card on top of my deck and draw the next card, which is another Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, which I will promptly evolve.
Seems good.
Then I will use Marnie and put the only card in my hand on the bottom of my deck and draw 5 cards.
Meanwhile, I will shuffle my hand, put it on the bottom, and draw 4.
I will use Damage Pump to remove 2 damage counters from my active Zoroark and put 1 onto my Crobats and 1 onto my Diancie. It's looking like we're going to use Baleful Curse for the full 310 damage, which is way more than enough to take the knockout. So,
All right. Things are looking tough now. Andrew's ahead in the prize race. He's got a very developed board position, and I'm just trying to keep things moving here. My Arceus is immediately at risk of being knocked out by another Hisuian Zoroark, which is certainly scary. One way I can help to mitigate that is by putting a Big Charm onto my active Arceus. And right now I'm just debating how much else do I even want to do at this point, and I think the answer is not a lot. So what I'll do, just swing for the knockout with Trinity Nova.
And I will promote my Diancie with the Air Balloon because it has free retreats. Draw for turn, and that is about as good of a card as I could have hoped for. Use Primate Wisdom to put this card on top of my deck. And wow.
Sure enough,
the next card's the Choice Belt. So I will attach the Choice Belt to my Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. I will attach double Turbo to my Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. I will use Damage Pump because I'm going to decide to leave that Diancie with just 1, and I'm going to move 2 damage counters over here to the Crobat, so there's no quick shooting shenanigans. And then I'm going to use Professor's Research to discard my hand and draw 7 cards. I'm going to bench this Hisuian Zoroark V and place 2 damage counters on it because of the Gapejaw Bog. And then I will retreat into Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, and I will use Baleful Curse for 310 damage to take the knockouts.
seems very good. I'll promote my Drizzile for turn here and draw for turn. We'll kick things off by playing a level ball and searching my deck. Now at this point, I am really just trying to go in with Charizard and figure out a win from there. We're going to go ahead and Shady Dealings. I'll grab an Ultra Ball off that Shady Dealings. Then I'll play that Ultra Ball, discarding a double Turbo Energy and a Level Ball. Search my deck for my beloved Shady Dealings Inteleon. I will grab a Scoop Up Net, and without my Training Court in the deck, I'll have to grab my Energy Search. I'll put both of those cards in my hand and then play the Energy Search, grab that second Fire Energy out of my deck. I'll bench that Charizard, take the 2 damage counters from the Gapejaw Bog, attach a Fire Energy to it, Scoop Up Net the Inteleon back to my hand, and promote the Charizard. It can now attack for 1 energy. I will bench that Sobble. I think I want to preserve my Shady Dealings, so I will use Roxanne. Andrew and I both shuffling our hands into our decks. I'll draw 6 cards, and Andrew will draw a measly 2. And I do find a Quick Ball. I'll use that to discard a Manaphy and get an Arceus V into play, putting those 2 damage counters from the Gapejaw Bog. And with that, I will use the Combustion Blast to do 250 damage and knock out the active Hisuian Zoroark.
Yeah, that is tough. 2 to 2 prizes. Doesn't get closer than this. Off a Roxanne to 2. I do find a couple of energy, so that is quite good for me. I will use Primate Wisdom to stack that card and draw the next. So I can attach the double turbo energy to my Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, retreat into it, and I am doing 230 damage with Baleful Curse. We'll take the knockouts.
I'm going to promote my Arceus V, and I will draw for turn. We'll kick things off by using an Ultra Ball, discarding a Charon's Care, and that Arceus V. Search my deck for an Arceus V-Star. I'll evolve that Arceus V-Star in the active position, and I will Scoop Up Net for pitifully little value on my Drizzile. Put that one back down, and evolve my Drizzile for a Shady Dealings. With that Shady Dealings, I need to grab a Raihan. We will start with that Raihan and play it. Accelerate the fire onto the active Arceus, and with that we'll grab a Big Charm. Attach that Big Charm to my active Arceus, and I'll pass over to you.
I will draw for turn, Quick Ball away a switch, and see. I got quite a few live cards in my deck. I've got 3 Boss's Orders and 1, 2, 3 copies of Trekking Shoes. I will fail. I will use Primate Wisdom to look at this next card, and then I will attach the double turbo energy, and I have to use Professor's Research to discard my hand and draw 7 cards. I've got plenty of Boss's Orders in my hand now.
I bet you do.
I will use Gengar's Creeping Back ability. See, I'll play Energy Loto. Okay. And I have to swing for just 10 shorts of a knockouts.
All right, this Arceus at 300 damage. Definitely doesn't feel great. I'll draw for turn, and that's not the card I'm necessarily looking for here. I'll bump to the Gapejaw Bog, though, with a Training Court, and use that effect to get an energy from my discard pile onto my Arceus. Unfortunately lacking that last double turbo that I need, and could not afford to search it off the Raihan.
Or else you just lost, yeah.
Yep. So I will boss that Crobat and put it into active, hoping to stick you for a turn, and I'll pass to you.
I will draw, and I will play Cyllene. Heads.
That's a heads.
And heads. And with the Cyllene, I will put the switch on top of my deck, and then I will use Trekking Shoes to draw into it, play the switch, and we have got Baleful Curse for the knockout in the game. Wow, that was very close.
That was impressive.
So, that is the Zoroark deck. Thank you, Riley, for the games.
Of course.
It was really close. I think the Charizard was, like, very good in the Arceus deck.
Yeah, maybe it's time to lean into it harder. You know, I looked at some of these online lists, and it seemed like just, you know, having an ordinary rod in the Charizard was enough for a lot of people. But if I had, like, a Clara out, that was just game.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, you were going to be able to just rinse, reuse, and recycle that that Charizard to take the final 4 prizes in a game. Y'all take it easy and have a good one.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah, and thank you, Riley, again for being here.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right. We'll see ya.